Hello, hello. Welcome to my channel. Not sure how you guys found me. Hopefully it's maybe through some titles, hashtags, whatever it is that we're supposed to put on here. I don't know. I am Graveyard Flowers, which is a completely irrelevant name. It just happens to be the name of a scented candle that I happen to have be sitting right beside me. Um, so this is technically my second YouTube channel. It's more of a reaction channel. Kind of got a little inspired a while ago, and I've been kind of wanting to do this for a while, but I just never kind of found the time to do it. Just having my own kind of personal situation going on, and which we'll get into in a little bit. Um, but if you want to stick around and react with me, you're more than welcome to. Really appreciate it. Stopping by. If you can, please leave a comment, like, subscribe. If you don't like it, click that subscribe button, click that like button. I'd love it. I'd appreciate it. But anyway, moving on. So, my reaction channel isn't really going to be very specific to any one particular person. Just kind of wanting to sort through some feelings I have on some certain people that are on the YouTubies. Um, but starting off this first one, I kind of wanted to go with a very famous YouTuber. I don't know if you really call very famous and YouTuber in any sense of the word. Um, AKA Foodie Beauty, AKA Chantal Marie, AKA, oh my God. Oh, so as of today, today is technically, this is being recorded on Tuesday, March the 1st, 2022, and she's been a YouTuber for about 5 or 6 years now, maybe a little bit more. My original channel, a long time ago, was started in 2010 or 2000, either 2009 or 2010. Um, it was started as a pre-op gastric bypass surgery site, page, whatever you want to call it. I kind of dropped it after I had the surgery because life kind of happened. Things just kind of happened. I kind of just ended up dropping the whole whatever. Used my YouTube channel more as a watch channel versus an actual upload channel. But I did have Roux-en-Y gastric bypass April 11th, 2011. And from my highest known weight of 283 pounds, I dropped to my lowest known weight of 128 pounds. Now I'm 5'8", so I was a stick. And of course, life does happen. They do have what they refer to as, I think they call it like a rubber band effect, where initially, right off the bat, you're not as absorbing quite as many nutrients, not quite as many calories, et cetera, et cetera. You're not able to eat as much, but of course, over time, your body repairs itself, things get better, and you're able to eat just a little bit more. It depends on what you're eating. Like for me, if I eat proteins, I get full very quickly. If I eat a salad, I could eat like an entire field worth of lettuce. So it's kind of a bizarre thing to go through. But over the years, since about 2016, I have regained a little bit of that weight. I think now, well, with my current health issues that I'm experiencing, I have gained about 10 more pounds in the past year. But of course, also because of the pandemic, just a little background on me, I am a nurse, a registered nurse. But in big disclaimer, in no way am I diagnosing. These people are not my patients. I am only speculating. These are all my opinions, but there are some things that I can comment on in a sense that it's general knowledge that all you have to use is Dr. Google to figure it out. But also a lot of it is stuff that I've learned in my own weight loss journey. Now, for me, not about shaming people, especially not body shaming. My first known kind of gaining situation, as memory serves, happened when I was about 8 years old. Kids started to tease me. I started to get bullied. I just had to kind of suffer through it through my entire childhood, through my entire teenage years, through my entire adulthood. Um, and well, things started to go really south really quick because by the time I was 28, I was already hypertensive. I had already started to develop type 2 diabetes. Both of my parents um, were obese. They passed young. My dad was 38. He'd had a massive heart attack. I was only 3.5, but I usually just say 4. He passed away right on our living room floor. And that's my trauma dump for this moment. But my mom was also a nurse. She worked very hard for a very long time and did not take care of her own health. She had problems with diabetes as well. It was uncontrolled for a number of years, led to her having a stroke when I was 16. Trauma dump number 2. Uh, she was only about 51 when it happened and continued to just spiral, spiral, spiral. And in 2010, she finally, unfortunately, passed away. She never fully recovered from her stroke, so she never went back to work again. She was retired at that point. I think she was about 64 or 65 when she passed away. I'm trying to do the math real quick in my head and it's not working. But anyway, right in the midst of my trying to go through the whole process for gastric bypass, which for me took an entire year. You have to go through psychological testing, you have to go through dietitian, you have to go through your own doctor, you have to go through multiple different kinds of tests just to make sure that you could handle the surgery. And then also, it's a long process. But right in the midst of the process, my mom passed away, which was even more encouragement for me to go through it. And then afterward, to encourage me to continue. So the gastric bypass actually did send my diabetes into remission. I call it remission because it's entirely possible that it will come back. It did not cure my diabetes. My most recent A1C was back in December, so about 3 months ago, and I was at 5.2. If you don't know what an A1C is, it's the measure of sugar that's been in your blood over about a 2 to 3 month period, because sugar actually binds to certain cells, and this is my nursing nerdy moment. Sugar binds to certain cells in your blood, and when they do a test, they can actually see how many of those sugars are still attached to the cells. This is a simplified version. So they can see what was circulating through your blood still over a 2 to 3 month period. And then if it's really high, then you're diabetic. If it's really low, you're normal. And I'm kind of in that 5.2 is kind of pushing the bounds, if you will. It's not perfect, but it definitely, in my opinion, could be better. But as somebody who's formerly 283 pounds, formerly on multiple diabetes medications, I'm doing pretty damn good after 10 years. So anyway, and plus I'm dealing with some health issues that have been going on in the past couple months, and I'm technically right now on temporary disability. So I'm kind of suffering right now. It's driving me nuts because I can't really do what I normally do, which if you look over into the left side of the screen, you'll see there's a little person holding a palette and a paintbrush, and that's my side gig. It's my hobby. I love art. I love making art, and the actual picture of the tree that's on the screen is photography that I've done just walking around my neighborhood. I just decided to use it. I know it's nothing fancy. I just used it as a backdrop because I live in a very beautiful area and I love to take pictures for inspiration for hopefully one of these days getting back into my art. So, anyway, moving on. Let's get back onto the focus here. So, the focus of today, and the reason why I kind of wanted to do this is because I've been watching a lot of reactionary channels and they've been covering, of course, what a lot of people refer to as lulz cows. Um, from my personal standpoint, because I am in the medical profession, I overhear a lot of really misinformed opinions. Um, Now, of course, I again am not a doctor. I'm not diagnosing these people. I am not their personal nurse. I don't know exactly everything that is going on with their health, and that is completely their right. I'm sorry, I'm American, so it's under HIPAA. Chantal is Canadian, so obviously they probably have their own different privacy laws. Um, so what she discloses and what she doesn't disclose obviously will form the judgment. But in the overall personal situation, that she is currently 37 years old at the time of this recording, she'll be 38 this year. She has disclosed her age before, so I'm not doxing anybody. She's actually published that she was born in 1984. I was born in 1978. I can do math. So anyway, uh, her situation is not good. And um, I'm kind of starting in the Wayback Machine on my channel so that we're not going to cover her health as much right now as we're going to cover. She's going through some drama right now, and it's kind of revealing how bad of a person she really is deep down inside. And it has absolutely nothing to do with her weight. It has absolutely everything to do with being a bad person. She's just, and health implications aside, the fact uh, the fact that she has been out and about running around like a nincompoop in the midst of a pandemic because she's lonely and because she wants to be loved. I just can't. I just can't. And right now, as of the time that I'm recording this, she's been struggling to get back across the border from the United States into Canada, and she's bitching and moaning about having to take a PCR or an antigen, rapid antigen test to get back across because that is the Canadian slash United States agreement. If you want to travel into one country or the other, you have to show proof of vaccination, proof of negative COVID testing. And you guys, I've been working the last 2 years wholly in this pandemic, and it's part of the reason why I am in the situation that I'm in right now. I'm exhausted, I'm stressed out, and I'm tired of people fighting the inconvenience of staying home, washing your hands, wearing a mask, especially wearing a mask. And mask mandates here for us have just been lifted, and I'm just terrified. But you know what? All in all, it's job security, I guess. But as a nurse, one thing I've also learned too, and that, you know what? This is not just a nurse, this is me, human. You can't help people that don't want to be helped, period. I was at that point before myself until I finally pulled up my big girl panties, got my eyebrows drawn on, went to the doctor and said, help me. I need it. You can't. And I followed through with it. I did everything I had to. And if it meant me being a little bit selfish for a few years just to get my new habits, no more eating fast food, preparing foods for myself, looking at calorie labels, looking at all that kind of stuff, then so be it. That's what I did. So anyway, we've been talking for way too long. So let's get started. This is going to be, I believe it was from July of 2018. Um, this is more just kind of in a Chantal's character type situation. This particular video is called, go back to it, I Love My Ex Story Time. And I apologize right now, you guys, if I have a lot of noise in my background. My air conditioner's on, even though it's just March 1st. We're already hitting the 80 and 90 degree days where I am. It's getting a little warm. Plus, I live over an alleyway in a very urban area. We got garbage trucks going. We got cars honking. We got police and fire just went by. I live really close to police and fire station. So safe neighborhood. Good, good, good. But yeah, let's stop talking. Let's stop chit-chatting. Let's stop talking about me, and we'll get to Chantal. Oh, good God. There we go. So we've kind of already started the video. We're about a minute in. She was actually just talking about the lipstick she's wearing, I guess, because apparently people want to know what color she's wearing, which this color I kind of like, but let's get into it.
Precious. Yeah. So, which is shade 11. So today's video, I'm going to be filming two videos separate because they're different subjects. So the first one I wanted to talk about, so the title is a bit clickbaity, but this is YouTube, so man, it is so hot in here. I need like a better fan. So anyway, so this subject I have touched on many times before, but I wanted to talk about it because I see a lot of comments every time I vlog with Pete about it. So, the
Sorry,
answer to
guys,
the
I'm kind of
question,
adjusting the
of the title
sound
is, the
levels
short
here.
answer is yes, of course. Now, I realize it's not really a usual thing that people hang out. Like the majority of people find it weird that I hang out with my ex.
Okay, so I'm going to actually stop it here for just a second because when I first started watching Chantal, which has been a while, But I didn't really pay that close of attention. So when, she was saying like, oh, I still hang out with my exes, people think that's weird, blah, blah, blah. For me, I kind of was like, well, I don't get it. Like I totally, that's fine, whatever. Like I didn't understand it myself because I still talk to some people that are from my past. My current, well, I call him my husband. We're not technically legally married, but he still talks to, the women and other people that are from his past too. But it's not like, we don't just regularly hang out with each other, nothing like that. But then once it finally kind of sunk in, like she lives with her ex now. At this point in time, she did not. Um, and she is still really good friends with him, but it's like it was kind of, I didn't get it at first, but then as time kind of went by and I started to see more and more of their interactions with each other, I started to kind of understand why people think it's a little bit weird. Like, and some of it too, they still act like a couple. They still do. Um, and I'm going to say this right now too, just another little disclaimer. I'm probably never going to be mean to Pete. A lot of people like to try and troll him, but in other videos, it has been mentioned that he is possibly on the spectrum. Um, it's never been confirmed because he doesn't have the $3,000 or whatever it was to have the testing done, which is completely understandable. If it was something that was suspected when he was a child, which I'm sorry, when we were kids and we're all around the same age, when we were kids, that was not a regular thing. You were either severely debilitated or you were just that ADHD kid, that introverted kid, that weird kid that sat in the corner. Nobody really recognized autism. It was not a thing. So as an adult, if he had $3,000 to just throw away on one single test that has pretty much nothing to do with anything because he's obviously functional, um, he can hold a job, he can go to a grocery store. No, he can't drive a car, but there's a lot of people that are normal that don't drive cars because they get nervous behind the wheel. I have a lot of friends that would rather just take public transportation or catch a ride. That's totally normal. So I have no problem with that at all. But if you guys think I'm ever going to rip into Pete's about anything, it's going to be extremely rare. And it's only going to be if he commits an ism. And by ism, I mean racism, sexism, anything like that. And there's times where he does speak out, and I think it's kind of uncontrolled blather. Like he just didn't have anything else to say. And then part of that is his spectrum, if you will. And this, again, it's never been formally diagnosed, and I'm not diagnosing him. I'm just throwing it out there. All right? Okay, so let's move on.
And I find it weird that people can't be friends with their exes. I find that weird that people find it weird. So yeah, I'm not very usual, and I, I guess I like to do things just because other people find it weird. I like to be contrary. Um, and that's how I ended up dating Pete, actually. I actually told you about this probably before, but I met him in a writer's class in high school.
Okay, so that's another thing I kind of wanted to touch on. So, and this is more into Chantal's character that I don't quite get. Um, and maybe I'm just not mathing right. Maybe I'm just ill-informed. I don't really understand it. But she and Pete met when they were in high school. She's currently 37 years old. This year she'll be 38. So she and BB broke up probably about 4 years ago, roughly, give or take a minute. Um, she and BB broke up. She said in previous um, videos, so say she's 38, they've been broken up for about 4 years, so she's 34 when they broke up. Then she has said that she and BB were together for like 8 years. So that puts her at about what, 25, 26 years old. And she had known Pete since high school. And if you take, say, like 25, 26, you subtract like the rough, give or take 8 years that they were supposedly together. Like, I don't, that whole math doesn't work for me because in between she tells all these stories that she's been with doing the deed other people. So does that mean she was like cheating on Pete? I don't get it because this the timeline doesn't work for me. It doesn't make sense to me, if that makes sense. I guess I don't know. Maybe. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just speaking out of my ass. I don't know.
And he was bullied, he was picked on, he just seemed to ignore it. But it really got to me, and I thought, I'll just, I like to be contrary. So the fact that that all the popular kids didn't like him, I'm like, well, he's probably
Check out this
Oh,
verdict.
sorry. I don't have
oh,
premium.
they're your
My bad.
cousins.
There we go.
Really cool. Because honestly, the popular kids that were mean in high school were very um, dull. They were just pretty much people I wouldn't want to hang out with anyway. So I made friends with him. I chatted it up with him, and he just turned out to be really cool. And I ended up falling in love with his personality. And he's a very, very smart guy, and he has a good sense of humor. We became really good friends.
And that's another reason why I can't be mean to Pete, because there are times where he says stuff and he is digging at Chantal. He digs at her. But there's other little things that he'll say that, to be honest, I swear to God, I find honestly amusing. I don't care what you guys say or what you guys think. Maybe sometimes you just don't get the humor. But as a weirdo who's into sci-fi comic books, fantasy, all that kind of stuff, like growing up, I get his humor. And again, maybe it's a generational thing. I don't know. Some people just don't get like certain levels of humor, but there's times, especially times when he takes digs at her. Oh, those really get me good. Oh, I love them. Sorry, when he gets his dig, he gets her below the fupa, if you will.
And at some point, I don't know if it was out of convenience, but we ended up rooming together. And no matter who I dated in between being with him, no matter who I dated being, in between with being with him, I ended up always thinking about him and realizing that I was in love with him. And so we hooked up. We were together for like 7 years. Yes, I was really in love with him at one point. Oh, hi, boys. Let's just take a moment to acknowledge Sam. Okay. I was definitely in love with him at some point, and then just I think this is love is one of the the best reasons for being alive. In my opinion, love is just like an amazing aspect of life, and it's a gift of life, really. If you
Agreed.
don't love somebody or you have nobody that loves you, I feel bad because I really do. It's a wonderful thing. Um, so just one I don't know if it was just one day I realized. I think it was declining a bit over time.
Okay, gotta stop here. Chantal, Bobby, no relationship on this planet is like a romance novel. Period. I've been with the same guy for 20 years. We lived together for 18 of those 20 years. 18? No, 16 of those 20 years. We drive each other nuts constantly. We live in a small apartment together. We've lived in small houses together. We've moved multiple times. We drive each other nuts. Every day is not the cover of a romance novel. He's not Fabio. I'm not the damsel in distress. Sometimes I'm the Fabio. He's the damsel in distress. Arguments happen, disagreements happen, we get on each other's nerves. I purposefully work night shift just so I can actually get some time away from him. It sounds terrible, but it's the truth. You cannot be with somebody 24/7, 365, and expect to be in love with them constantly, day in and day out. I like to send him away with his little friends. He likes to send me away with my little friends so that we can get a break from each other. We're together all the time. And right now, because of my own personal health illness issues that I'm going through, my body has switched off of night shift, so I am on day shift brain-wise. And it just annoys me that I have to share a bed with him. We have been together for 20 years. We've nearly never worked the same exact shift. And it's been perfect because it's our time to get away from each other. I get my time to study. He gets his time to play his video games or to watch a movie or get some sleep. I get my time to paint, to draw, to do whatever it is that I want to do. And we're not driving each other up a wall, especially right now. But girl, you have got to get out of this mentality that all the time it has got to be 24/7 romance novels. I love reading romance novels because they're one of my guilty pleasures. They're awful. They are awful bored housewife trash, but they're so fun. I also really like horror, horror fiction, or even actually horror truth. Sometimes there's some horror truth. But anyway, moving on.
But I just kind of ignored the signs out of convenience, and the thought didn't even want to enter into my mind because I did love this person as a person, and the last thing I wanted to do was hurt him. And I still have a lot of guilt with that to this day. I still really feel really bad. I feel responsible. And because he's still not with somebody, and I know he's lonely, and that's why I feel some guilt, and I'd like to hang out with him when I can. But I do like spending time with him, and to not.
Because you're still in love with him. That's the problem. That's really bothering me. And there's times where you can see it in Pete's face. He's still in love with her. He still hasn't let go. And of course, this is just my opinion. I'm only seeing it from a computer screen and what she decides to show. But if you go back, this is kind of when she is a little bit more of her authentic self, where she's not trying to hide stuff, where she's not on a 12-hour live stream trying to convince everybody that she's not doing cocaine, that her health is okay, all this kind of stuff. This is just, I don't know.
Just because I didn't have romantic love for him anymore, to completely get rid of this person. He's a wonderful soul. Like, he's a wonderful person, and to not have him as a person in my life anymore just because I don't want to shag him anymore,
Because he doesn't put
would just
butterflies
seem
in the deed
really
in you
tragic.
anymore. Okay.
So that is why I am still in touch with him, that I am still good friends with him. And no, BB is okay with that. He doesn't mind. He's not a jealous. He never was a jealous. Um, he is sort of a jealous person. He's an Aries like me, and we are very.
Oh, I can't stand it when she says that. I am an Aries woman. I was born in April too. I'm an Aries. I'm not jealous. I don't get jealous. If he wants to go out with somebody else, whatever. I don't behave like a big, blubbering baby Huey like you do. I don't go and shave my head. I don't go throwing tantrums. Certainly don't cross a border, an international border, in the middle of a fucking pandemic and then start blubbering to 1,000 VI idiots, whatever the hell they're called, about all of my personal business. Looking for the ass pats, looking for this, looking for that, looking for the other, after you treat people like shit, including your VI idiots. What the fuck? God.
Very jealous, but he doesn't express it. He's very mature. He's very, and right from the get go, maybe it would have been different if I just, hey, in the middle of our relationship, I'm still hanging out with my ex. But I told him about that before we started dating. I said, I'm still really good friends with my ex. I hope you can respect that. He has girlfriends, that are really nice that we do things with. I don't.
Are
I
they
don't know. I
girlfriends
used
or
to
are
be
they
really
girls
jealous
who
and
are
insecure,
friends?
but now I'm just with love and relationships. I've learned to
Nothing.
just go with the flow, you know.
No.
And right now, as it is, I'm still in love with BB. I'm assuming he's still in love with me. You know,
That's
and we just
changing.
don't like to put our relationship public. I'm sure you can understand
Because he
why.
doesn't want you to?
You know, it's a no-brainer. But you know, if something happens in the future, you know, I'm just gonna go with the flow with
No, you're
life.
not.
I'm just gonna ride the wave. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Girl,
I'm
you
more
are the wave.
miserable if I cry.
If you want to be one of the
Oops,
only
sorry
people in
about
the
that.
world whose body gets sexier as they age, then stop everything you're doing.
Oh, shut up.
Over spilled milk. And you know, my grandmother's really like that. I don't want to be like that. She dwells on things and has a lot of regret. um, you know, I won't disagree that one of the most tragic things in life is falling out of love. It is very, very tragic. And whenever I realized and admitted to myself that that's what happened with Pete, I
You didn't fall
was
out of love. God damn, woman. And one of the most tragic things in life is not falling out of love. It's watching a country get shelled by another country. One of the most tragic things is being a nurse in the middle of a pandemic and having to constantly call families to let them know that their loved one passed away. What's tragic is being the one who has to be the person who's the last person that they saw before they passed away. Falling out of love is like on the floor, bottom of the barrel, number 100 billionth most tragic thing to happen. I'm sorry. And you don't fall out of love. What you do is you realize that the butterflies aren't swimming around in your damn stomach anymore, but maybe that's just gas. You realize that the butterflies aren't swimming around in your stomach anymore, and then you decide that you need attention from somebody else. We all want attention. All want acceptance. We all want to be loved. I went through that when I was like 14, 15, 16 years old. And then I finally realized that the people around me were enough. They could have been a same sex person, they could have been my best friend. And that's all I needed for acceptance and love. But number one, acceptance and love is in yourself. So, on, and again, this is just observation, but I've taken psychology. We do have to take a psychiatric rotation when I was in nursing school, and no, thank you, it's not for me. Psychiatric nursing would probably put me in the hospital. They have what they refer to, and this is very common knowledge, you can actually Google this. It's called an external locus of control or an internal locus of control. So people who have what they call an internal locus of control, those are the people that go, I control my destiny. If I want to become a successful businessman, I'm the one who makes it happen. External locus of control is somebody who says, oh my God, the world's against me. Nothing's ever going to go my way because the outside world doesn't want it to happen for me. So, in theory, of course, this is all just theory too. Um, in theory, everybody's kind of got it balanced. So there are certain extenuating circumstances on the outside that make your life miserable. Um, this is going to be, oh, some of you guys are going to think this is cringe by me using this, but you have people, for example, like Barack Obama. His external locus of control is the fact that racism still exists, that he was thrown everything terrible in life because of his skin color. And not to mention, he's not completely African American. He is of mixed race, which in depending on what part of the culture, what society, what country you live on and where you come from, being of mixed race is still looked down upon. Um, there's definitely certain countries that still view this. But his internal locus of control is I can take my experience and become the best attorney, I can become the best senator, and then eventually he became the best president that we've had in a very long time. And no, before you guys get all cuckoo, oh my God, she's a liberal, she's a Democrat, she's a libtard, blah, blah, blah. I just vote for who I think is best. I do not identify with a particular party because I love Theodore Roosevelt just as much as I love Barack Obama. So try and figure me out and don't. So anyway, back to Chantel. With the internal or external locus of control, it's like she seems to think she has absolutely zero control over her life. That all the haters, and how do they spell it? Hadyyrus, something like that. Whatever the haters, um, like she thinks that they're the ones that are just picking on her. They're fat shaming her over everything, and it's like, girl, close your ears, or sorry, close your mouth, open your ears, because we're not fat shaming you. We're person shaming you. Your fat is not a personality trait. How you choose to treat people is a personality trait. And so far in this, you've already told us how shitty you've treated Pete and how shitty you've treated BB. Because, as well, I should say, up and coming, you and BB break up because you're falling out of love. The romance novel is reaching its last page. Moving on.
Probably, I was so heartbroken. I was heartbroken that I had to break his heart, and I'll never forget doing that, like breaking up with him. It was so hard. Because I was pretty much just like, um, I was like, I'm breaking up with you. I'm not. I just said everything. I said I'm not in love with you anymore.
So you're breaking
I'm
up with
in love
him
with
before he could
someone
break up
else.
with you,
It was
essentially.
very wrong of me to have started talking with um, BB before breaking up with him. But I thought many times he would tell me, Pete would tell me, even if you don't love me anymore, I don't know, maybe he sensed it was coming, but he said, even if you don't love me anymore and you wanted to see someone else, I would be totally cool with that. I would be cool with you having different lovers to make you happy. And
Oh, God. See, you guys, this is why I can't be mad at Pete. This is why. This breaks my heart so much. And I know, you know what? I know at the time Pete was like, well, at the time, because I know he's about 1 or 2 years younger than Chantal. At the time, of course, that this is all going down, they're in their 20s. They're in their early 20s. And his self esteem was so bad that he's willing to say, you can go sleep with other men. Just, I'm okay with that. And she did. She took full advantage of that. Like, you guys, that's why I can't be mad at Pete. I mean, I just want to cry right now because that's why I can't be mad at him. So that's why I'm happy whenever he takes his little digs at her because she deserves that. Like, how can you be so openly cruel to somebody that you even supposedly still proclaim to love, just not love like that? After they told you, I know, if you want to go out and do other things with other people, that's okay. No, that's not okay. That's not permission. You full on break up with somebody, then you start talking to the other person. And in future videos, we're going to get to it too. She claims she has some kind of weird, like, cheating fantasy, or I don't know what you would call it. She has a fantasy where she gets to cheat on people. Well, bitch, you actually played that one out, apparently, according to you, according to the words coming out of your mouth right here in this video. Ah,
and I just felt like, but I can't be in a relationship with someone I'm not in love with, and I don't think BB would like that. So I think that it was very wrong of me to do that, to sneak around and talk to BB for like 2 weeks.
well, no shit.
And I did fall in love with him in that short amount of time, by the way.
No, you didn't.
It just like clicked. And
Oh my god. It took her 2 weeks to fall in love with BB. And then, of course, just before she started going with Lord Nedamort. Sorry, that's what I call him. Some other people call him Koki. Hi, FFG, I love you. um, Some people have just all different kinds of names for this guy, but for my favorite one is Lord Nadermort, because he's the man who, off and on, shall not be named. Yet people in her chat just love to bring him up because they know she'll start talking about him, even though she's like, I don't want to talk about him anymore. I don't want to go there anymore. Oh my God, we're broken up, you guys. Let's go shopping. Everybody bees. But I miss him. Now I'm gonna file a restraining order. But I miss him. Oh, you guys think I'm mocking her, and we're gonna get into something else in just a second about that.
And I just think that I should have broken up with him first, and I definitely learned from that. Um, it's always better to be honest, because there have been times in my life where I was dishonest, especially with myself more than anyone else. And I'm just learning that it just feels better to just be honest about things, about how you're feeling, regardless of how people are going to react to them. So that's what I'm really trying hard to implement in my life.
No, you're not.
And I should have done that, ending my relationship with Pete, absolutely. And so I did admit to him that I was talking with BB. Um, so yeah, and I was in love with him, and I was, gonna be with him. So that's the story. Um, I think that no matter who I'm dating in life, I won't date somebody. I mean, not like I'm anticipating breaking up with BB, but like no matter who I'm with in life, they have to be okay with me being friends with him because he is a special person in my life. We have a lot of fun together, but there's not ever a time where I feel sexually attracted to him or where I feel that there's any love that could.
And well, I guess not feeling sexually attracted to a person is part of it, I guess. I don't know. I guess I never really understood with a lot of people how that kind of attraction can take over their brain, I guess. Because to me, um, intellectual attraction has to be there first, plain and simple. Like if I don't feel like you can discuss, anything with me without sounding like a drooling moron, then I'm kind of yeah. And on the opposite end, you have to be able to challenge me. Like I can't just be like this passive, I know everything kind of person. Even though, sometimes, yeah, it does lead to little arguments and stuff like that and leads to tension. But sometimes that tension can lead to other things, if you know what I mean. But it's like she just wants like this superficial, he's hot, he turns me on, he rubs my belly. Like oh. Even when I was at my biggest, I that was actually kind of the one thing I could never do. And it's not like I wasn't in my teen years attracted to. Now, see, I was a little weirdo, so I loved like the hair metal bands. I didn't do the whole New Kids on the Block thing or whatever boy band was popular when I was young. I'm not saying how old I am. Oh wait, I already did. Never mind. Anyway, um, but I'm Gen X. I'm sorry, but for me it was the Kurt Cobains, not necessarily him specifically, but it was the rockers, the punk rockers, those kind of people. Oh, Milo Ackerman. Oof. Oh, girl. If you don't know who that is, don't worry about it. He's definitely my match, even though he's married. Damn, and like 20 years older than me. But no, it's an intellectual thing, but she's just going for this superficial stuff. And I've seen BB. He's not ugly. Pete's. I'm not gonna say he's dead ass hot, but he's not ugly. I mean, trust me, he could have a whole lot less hair and a whole lot less teeth. So yeah, we're just gonna leave it at that.
Could be rekindled. I don't feel that at all. Um, I actually, it's hard to, when I'm with him, it's hard to believe that we were ever in such a loving relationship for 7 years. But it was just like a spell, just wore off, Um, and it's not something you can control, and it's very, very tragic when that happens. So I just wanted to explain that there's a big difference between loving somebody. You love your mother, you love your father, you love, or maybe you don't, I don't know. You love things in life. We're here to love, and
No, we're not here to love.
I definitely love Pete as a person. Pete is his nickname. His real name is Jamie. I definitely love him as a person, and I don't think that will ever stop because he's a really dear friend of mine. And I think that this whole breakup, you know, was a good thing. We are very good friends, and um, there's nothing more to it. So, anyways,
Yeah.
guys, thank you so much for watching.
Yeah, so anyway, we're gonna click out of this. My God, this woman is such a headache. Oh my God. So this is the reason why we're kind of stepping back in here, because it just shows from the very beginning what a shit person she is to other people. And right now, she's going through all this legal bullshit. You know, she files a restraining order. You see that Plattsburgh bees kicked out of Canada. Those are the most recent streams, obviously. I'll click that off. So, yeah, I mean, with everything that's going on right now, this is kind of a good distraction for me. Um, I've just got my own health issues that I'm going through. Can't do as much as I usually push myself to do. Um, and like I literally cannot drive a car right now. I literally barely can take a shower standing up. I have to take all my baths and stuff like sitting down like a toddler. It's driving me nuts. I went from running about 40 miles a week to basically walking from my couch to the kitchen to the bedroom. And I live in a tiny one bedroom apartment, so it's about 42 steps a day. So yeah, it's just some health issues I'm going through right now. So you guys will be helping me through those a little bit just by, watching, commenting, keeping up with the Kardashians or whatever the hell that is. I don't know. I'd never watched that show. I'm sorry. Um, but this is kind of my entertainment recently, and I can't help myself. I'm sorry. But anyway, right now, with the way that the world is going, please keep Ukraine in your prayers. If not for me, for the people of Ukraine, as well as for my best friend at work. She is from Ukraine originally, and I'm trying not to get emotional as I say this, but at the bottom you'll see I put on there, please consider donating to your local American Red Cross or blood bank. I'm not planning really to monetize this channel because I do actually hope to be back at work very soon. So who knows how many videos I'll be able to do, if any, in the future. We're not going to just be on to foodie booty, whatever, fupa booty. I don't know what they call her. We're not going to be on her the entire time. There's a lot of variation in YouTube that I watch, but this just happens to kind of be my stories for this week. Um, but if anything, just please keep Ukraine in your prayers. Keep the whole world in your prayers, and just remember every day, try and do something a little bit better, if not for yourself, for the rest of the world. Try not to be like these people.